Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. In today's video we're going to have some Division 13 online ranked gameplay, and it's going to be in the strawweight division. And this match up here is going to be a mirror match, both using Rose Namajunas. And Rose is probably my favourite fighter in division, alongside Wei Ling, but I'd say I edge more to Rose just because Rose has a better ground game, better submissions, and I like submitting my opponents. And I like knowing the fact that if it goes to the ground, I've got the tools in which to not only survive, but win, attack the submissions, get on top. She's got good submissions from the top and bottom, so often I'll edge towards Rose, and as you see, my opponent's a Division 8 fighter. And as I've said in the previous videos, the divisions right now don't mean too much. It's going to take a while for them to mean something with players that are still elite in the lower divisions. Like, I've come up against players as of recently, they're in Division 6 and have given me very hard fights, and then I've come up against players in Division 11 that takes me one round to beat them. So going into this fight, dealing with mirror matches it's always tricky, but you're either going to fight to the character's strength, which is Rose in this case, or you're going to look to do the opposite and just use their weaknesses against them and take them down and just hold on and look to just survive the fight. And here I'm going to really utilise Rose's boxing, and as you can see, I'm in the red corner, so I've got the red gloves on and I've got the blue kit on. So as you can see, I'm looking to do damage to the lead leg of Rose. I want to make her switch stances, so I'm sneaking in those leg kicks. I'm using the lead leg kick quite often because it's quite long and rangy and it works as a jab, and that's what I'm trying to do. And as you can see, my opponent's not doing a great job of checking these leg kicks at the moment. He's getting a bit frustrated and is now trying to return fire with these leg kicks, and this is what I want to do. I want to lure my opponent into getting frustrated, lashing out, and then I want to pick my opponent apart. I'm trying to use my distance management well because I can see my opponent's trying to clinch quite a bit, hence why I'm ducking and swaying left and right. And I know that my opponent's going to look to take this to the ground eventually, just because at the moment my opponent's not using the distance well, throwing strikes from out of range, and you can see my opponent's getting quite frustrated. And this is what I want to do. I want to make my opponent miss. As you can see here, I sway the 1-2, and I want my opponent to get frustrated, and I'm trying to check the leg kicks as much as possible to do damage to the other leg. As you can see, I get the knockdown here. I opt to go on top and then I get back up because I don't want to be in Rose's guard, and I'm doing very good damage on the feet, so I opted to get up, and as you can see, I'm instantly attacking that leg, attacking. And even when my opponent is expecting it and checks it, I'll go for it straight after. And my opponent's lead leg is in an awful position for the first round, and as you can see, my opponent's trying to throw big strikes as I land a head kick there. Obviously this is going to be very frustrating for my opponent because not only is my opponent missing a lot of strikes, he's throwing the strikes from way out of range. And when he does this, I punish him normally with a leg kick, and as you can see, my opponent changed stance through a leg kick and I checked it, which caused my opponent to drop. And right now I'm in a good position because I forced my opponent to switch stance, and now that my opponent's throwing leg kicks, I can check them, and my opponent will now pretty much constantly drop. And as you see, my opponent goes for a takedown here, does a good job of getting the takedown, but there's only 19 seconds left, so I'm not too worried about what my opponent can do on the ground here. I know that I've got the tools to survive, and as you can see, I sway the punch there, so my opponent's done very little to no damage on the ground in those last 20 seconds. And as you can see from the fight stats there, I had a very good round, and striking wise, my opponent threw a lot of strikes and was missing a lot of strikes, and that's perfect because when you're throwing strikes and you're not hitting the opponent, you're going to lose stamina faster. And so this is an ideal situation for me because my opponent's stamina is going to be depleting at a much faster rate, and I'm going to be looking to attack these legs in this round, use my boxing, and I want to get it to the point where my opponent's legs are so busted that he's constantly blocking the legs, and then I'll go to the head with my boxing and just be unpredictable and make it hard for my opponent to fight against. And in this round, my opponent either needs to switch something up drastically or look for a takedown as I get the knockdown there. As you can see, I'm really pushing the pace now. I'm being very aggressive, hitting with a lead uppercut which gets another drop. And this is exactly what I want to do. And with Rose, you can pressure fight really well, and I enjoy pressure fighting now that you actually need to use a bit of skill. You can't just block break. You need to actually mix up your combos and use IQ. As you can see, I'm still doing damage to the leg, and our Rose's head health is in an awful position, and my opponent's not quite sure what to do. Doesn't have maybe the skill set or the answers for this type of pressure. As you can see, my opponent's just sort of blocking back in towards the cage, throwing strikes from out of range because I'm using my distance management well, and I'm picking my opponent apart. And this is where fight IQ comes into it. If I was my opponent, I'd have to go get on the ground because my opponent's taken on too much damage to still be standing on the feet. And as you can see, I'm working the other leg now, but I'm mainly focusing for the head just because I know Rose's head health is not in a good position. With another knockdown there, I let my opponent get up. My opponent's against the fence, and as you can see, I'm using my distance well. I'm backing away, I'm swaying where I can. He hits me with a good head kick there, and my opponent, you can just see, is looking for this big strike to potentially get a knockdown. As I get the knockdown again, this has been an even more dominant round than the first. Hit him with a leg kick again, which gets the drop. Hit my opponent with a leg kick again, pushing the pace. My opponent switched stance because his leg can't handle it. We get another knockdown, and we finish off with the ground and pound, I believe. And so that was the Rose mirror match. My opponent then quits. Thank you for watching the video. Please like, comment and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.